Hey guys, my name is Ruth Bergin and I'm a makeup artist and I'm going to be showing you how to do a Christmas glam tutorial look today with Arnotts. Okay, so first thing I'm going to use today is Bobbi Brown Face Base. This is one of my all-time favourite products. I use it on all my clients, use it on myself. It's extremely versatile. The one thing that I like the most about it is that it smells amazing. It smells like lemon verbena and it also has vitamin E in it, so it's really, really soothing on the skin. It takes away any redness or pigmentation and leaves you with a flawless base for makeup. The purpose of a base is to create a barrier between the skin and the makeup and to hydrate the skin before the makeup goes on so that when foundation hits your skin, it won't dry it out. Okay, so first I'm going to go in with the Refi medium brow kit. I got this when it first came out and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I've rebought it loads of times. The pencil is probably the most pigmented pencil that I've ever used, just absolutely insane. And I'm going to use shade medium. So first thing you want to do when you're doing your eyebrows is brush up all of the hairs so you can reveal the true shape of the brows. Otherwise it's more difficult to follow your natural shape. And then I'm going to take the pencil. As you can see, it's super defined, so it's really going to give us a really defined brow. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is just come underneath my brow and just map out this initial line underneath my brow. You can see that I'm like barely touching the eyebrow with this and it's coming out so pigmented. So I'm just going to do that initial line first to give me a good idea of the shape. And then I'm going to use the spoolie end just to brush that up into the eyebrow. So every time I apply the product, I'm going to use the spoolie just to go through it and make sure it looks really, really soft and natural. Now we're just going to sketch through with this little pencil. So I just prepped my eyelids there using the Fawn Hourglass Concealer just to give myself a nice clean base to start before I put any eyeshadow on. So next thing I'm going to use is Nars Casino Bronzer. I'm going to use this as eyeshadow. I do this an awful lot in my makeup because I find you get a really nice monochromatic makeup look at the end when all of the colours are fitting in together really nice. Right, so I'm just going to take my brush and just start from the outer half of the eyelid and just with circular motions just wash across the outer half of the lid. So I'm just going to build that up until I'm happy with the pigmentation of the eyeshadow. So as I'm building up the colour, I just want to make sure that I'm pulling the shadow up and out to the edge of the eye because this is going to lift the eye shape and not drag it down. So to begin with, that's enough eyeshadow. You just want like a nice soft base to blend your pencils into. I'm going to use MAC Teddy pencil next, which is one of my absolute favourites. It's like a MAC OG product. I used to work in the counter in Grafton Street and ever since then I just love MAC products. But this is a really beautiful medium brown with a nice sparkle through it and it's absolutely gorgeous on anyone and everyone. So with my pencils, as I blend them out, I'm going to lose a little bit of pigmentation, so I need to build them up a few times. And the same thing with my pencils as my eyeshadow. As I'm building them up, I really want to drag the shape of the eye up and out, so you get a really nice elongated feline kind of finish. So the next thing I'm going to use is the Too Faced Cinnamon Swirl palette. I'm going to use this gorgeous, really warm brown colour called See Me Rolling. Any sort of warm brown with like a red or an orange undertone is really beautiful for any green or blue eye. It just makes them pop. So I'm just going to use this colour to blend over my pencil. It's kind of like a medium shade between the pencil and the eyeshadow that I had on to begin with, the Nars Casino. So it's going to blend all of that together really, really nicely. And I'm just going to keep that to the outer half of the eye. Again, by keeping your eyeshadows to the outer half of the eye, you're going to get more of like a feline, feminine kind of look, rather than if it's really dark all over the lid, it ends up looking a little bit grungy. Yeah, I do find I use a lot of the same colours. I love more like neutral kind of makeup, more like what you would see celebrity makeup artists doing for celebrities for like the red carpet. So a lot more kind of neutral, wearable colour rather than the kind of dramatic looks that were in a few years ago. You don't have to be too careful, it doesn't have to be really neat. That's the other thing about pencils is that you don't have to be really neat or really precise with them. You can basically just keep blending them and eventually it will look fine. So I'm using 2 blending brushes and 1 buffer brush. So the blending brushes are for eyeshadow and the buffer brush is to buff out my pencil. So you need something a little bit more stiff to buff out the pencil. So I'm going to use a darker brown from this palette called Batter Up. And again, I'm just going to go in close to the lash line and to the outer half of the eyelid. Make that really, really smoky. Usually I think it's a good thing to have 2 eyeshadow brushes if you're doing shadow. One so that you can keep blending out the edges with like no product on it so it's really, really nice and soft. And then another one for your darker colours. It just means that you'll have a way nicer blend at the end. I think the most common mistake people make is like buying things just because other people have them. I think like for the average person, really makeup is about just having a few bits that you know really suit you, that you know how to use, and that's all you need. Like my own makeup bag is tiny. Obviously my makeup artist kit is massive, but my own makeup bag is just like a few bits that I love, that I know suit me and that I know how to use. So Makeup by Mario, who is Kim Kardashian's makeup artist, who I love, he always talks about layering pencils. So to get them to stay and have like long lasting wear, you have to build them up. So that's why, as you can see, I've kind of put this on my waterline 3 or 4 times already, and I'll probably do it 4 or 5 more times before the end of the makeup. And that just means that it's gonna have a really, really strong base, and it's not gonna go away throughout the day. Same thing on the top lid. We wanna just build up our pencils to get that nice smoky pigmentation on the lash line, because if you only put it on once and buff it away, you're gonna lose all the true color of the pencil. So for a little bit of sparkle on the lid, I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown Precious Metals palette. This is absolutely gorgeous. It has 8 shimmers, just perfect for Christmas season. And the color that I'm going to use is this nice gold at the end. I'm just going to take a flat brush and just pack that on. So I'm going to put the first layer onto my eyelid dry. You could actually use your finger for this either, you don't need to use a brush. So when I have the most product on the brush, I'm just going to place that in the center of the lid so that I get the most pigmentation, and then I'm going to pat out really quickly from there, so I get a nice soft application. It's like a pet peeve of mine is when there's like a shape between the shimmer and the matte, so you just want to make sure that it's all blending in really seamlessly. You can even use your blending brush. So to bring up the sparkle of that eyeshadow even more, you can use a fixing spray. This is one from Urban Decay All Nighter, and I'm just going to pop a little bit more of that eyeshadow onto the brush, and then pop that on the center, and that's going to bring up the pigmentation and the sparkle of that eyeshadow loads. So the next thing I'm going to use is Nars Sheer Glow in Stromboli. This is my all-time like #1 favorite foundation. Anyone who follows me on Instagram or who's had their makeup done by me, I use it for literally everyone. It's so versatile. It's basically a semi-matte drying kind of like medium buildable coverage, so you can really sheer it down if you don't want so much coverage, or you can really build it up if you want it heavy. You can also prep anybody's skin to work for this foundation. So if someone has oily skin, you can prep the center of their face with an oil control primer, or if they have drier skin, you can make their face really, really hydrated and luminous, and then apply this and it'll be absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to use a kind of like fat buffer brush for this. I just find that it's going to give you a really, really nice coverage, just like a really flawless sheer base. So I'm just going to push that into the skin. As you can see, it's such a gorgeous coverage. And the Bobbi Brown face base has made my skin really, really hydrated and luminous underneath. For Christmas party makeup, definitely like a little bit of sparkle is definitely going to elevate your makeup to a new level. So a little palette like this Bobbi Brown one is ideal, because you could have the same browns every single time, blend at the same time. You could use your pencil the same every single time, but then it's going to make it a completely different eye look by having all your different coloured sparkles. So that definitely takes it to a new level. Or a red lip. Love a red lip for Christmas. People are definitely afraid of a red lip, and I can totally understand why, because to the average eye, I think everyone thinks that there's one red and every red is the same, when actually there's so many different undertones to all these reds. Like if I wore a blue undertone red, it washes me out so much, does not suit me, is not nice on me. But then an orange undertone red makes me look really like fresh and, you know, like alive and summery, and it just like brings my face to life. So I definitely think it's just about finding the right red for you. It's my Hourglass Concealer again. I use this to prep my eyelids too. So this is in shade Fawn, which goes perfectly with Stromboli. So I'm just going to place that in the center of my face, underneath my eyes, just kind of framing the sides of my nose. And I'm going to use some of the edge here to define the shape of my shadow and lift the shape of my face. I'm going to pop a little bit in the center of my forehead, a little bit around the nose. So basically you're trying to lift the structure of the face by doing this. So any areas that are a little bit darker, like around the nose, in here around the eyes, and we also want to create balance in the face. You can actually, if you wanted to as well, you can use a little bit here to deepen the look of the cheekbones, because when we put our bronzer on, this is going to be deeper here, creating a hollow, and this is going to look brighter, creating that kind of shadow effect. So a top tip for concealer, if you want a really nice like kind of heavy coverage in the center of the face, is to leave it on for like 60 seconds, and then you can spray your brush or your sponge with a little bit of fixing spray, which is going to be hydrating, and then buff on your product. So we're just doing a buffing, pressing into the skin motion, and as you can see here at the side of the eyeshadow, I'm going to use my concealer to shape that. So that's one thing about the way that I do makeup. I really like want everything to be really seamless. I don't want there to be any like clear lines between where one thing starts and one thing finishes. Celebrity makeup artist, I absolutely adore Patrick Ta. I went to one of his masterclasses and I still have not recovered. I'm actually obsessed with him. I also love Mario, Kim Kardashian's makeup artist. He is just the king. So as you can see, all I've applied at this stage is concealer and foundation. The whole reason that we use the concealer to shape the face is because when you put foundation one shade all over the face, you're making the face very 2D, and we want to bring light and shadow and shape back into the face with all the rest of our products. So as you can see already, that started to lift my cheekbones, lift my eyes, and made the center of my face look brighter. So one thing I always say to makeup artists when I'm doing lessons with them to upskill is I always say, like, think about why you're doing what you're doing. A lot of people just with makeup are like, oh, I put bronzer on here because someone said that once, but you're not actually thinking about why am I applying this here? What's it actually doing for the face, and what is its actual purpose? And I think once you start thinking like that, your makeup application will change. So one good tip for making sure that your eyeshadow is really, really seamless and is blending really nicely into the rest of your face is to take a bit of your bronzer, small little bit, and just grab the edges of the shadow and just pull them up and out. That's just going to blend that really seamlessly into the rest of our makeup, and it's going to lift the eye. So the next thing I'm going to use, this is one of my favorite new things that I got. I just bought it recently for my kit. I saw another makeup artist was using it. I was like, how does she get that amazing sheen on the cheeks? This is Tom Ford Skin Illuminating Duo, and this is in shade Moonlight. So it obviously comes with a highlighting shade and then kind of like a shimmer bronzer. So I'm just gonna pop some of that, just wash it across my cheeks. It's gonna give a beautiful sheen. So next thing I'm going to use is this Hourglass Blush. This one is Ambient in shade At Night. And I like using the same brush for my bronzer as my blush because it all just kind of like blends together a lot nicer. So one trend with blush recently that I'm loving is putting it actually like higher up into the cheeks and onto the cheekbones. I just adore blush. I can't finish any makeup without blush. So to finish my eyes, I'm going to use my bronzer again, and I'm just going to come up underneath my bottom lash line this little flat brush, and then I'm going to go in again with my Teddy pencil from MAC just to build up pigmentation on the waterline. So the next thing I'm going to use is my Tom Ford Shade and Light palette again, and I'm going to use the highlight shade. So I'm just going to use this little small brush and I'm just going to build that up onto the side of my brush, and then just buff that onto the very, very high point of your cheekbone. You don't want to do this whole thing where like there's highlighter everywhere, again, because it's defeating the purpose of the highlight. The highlight is there to highlight a certain zone. So when you buff it on like that really, really lightly, when the light hits, you just get that really nice concentration. And then I'm going to use the other smaller end, and I'm just going to highlight the inner corner of my tear duct. A little bit in the bow of the lip. And you can just use your finger and grab a little bit onto the very tip of your nose. So that's just hopefully going to make my nose look a little bit smaller. So basically the smaller the area that you've highlighted on the tip of the nose means that it's going to make your nose look smaller because only a tiny little area is being reflected, creating the illusion that you only have a tiny little area on your nose. So next thing I'm going to use is Laura Mercier Translucent Powder. This is an absolute like cult product. Everybody has this. I literally have rebought this, I'd say 20 times over the last few years. I don't use any other powder. This one just suits everyone. It's perfect for every occasion. All it does is literally mattify the face. It doesn't change the color or tone or anything of the makeup. Literally just mattifies, and that's all we want from a translucent powder. So as you can see, the Nars Sheer Glow settled really nicely into my skin. That's why I use powder at the very, very end, because after a little while you can see how the foundation is kind of sitting into your skin and settling into your skin. So my skin is super dry, so the matte particles in the Sheer Glow have mattified. So I don't even really need that much powder, but I'm going to use a little bit underneath my eyes here. Literally a tiny little bit. So if you wait those 10 minutes, that's going to prevent you from over powdering, which is one of the biggest mistakes I think that people make in their makeup as well. I'm just going to set the center of the forehead, just any of those areas where you have pores and you're prone to getting greasy. So next thing I'm going to use is, this is MAC Extended Play Permeable Lash. When I used to work in MAC, this was like always one of the best sellers. It just has this really nice little wand. I don't like when the wand is too big because my own eyelashes are a little bit sad, so a smaller wand gets more into them. So the next thing I'm going to do is come back in with my Refi Medium Brow Kit. This is the Brow Pomade, which is actually like a universal shade. And I just leave this to the end because if I do it at the start and then I'm rubbing foundation and everything on it, it just kind of disturbs it. So I just do it at the very end. So I'm just going to pop that through my brow hairs. And then I'm actually going to use my finger to just press that down. Oh, this product is so amazing, it's such a game changer. So to finish off my look, I'm going to use Pillow Talk lip liner from Charlotte Tilbury. A good tip for lining your lips if you want to overdraw them but have them still look natural is that you want to stick to your natural shape from about like here to here, here to here, here to here, so the outer kind of third of the mouth, and then you can overdraw in the center. So you get that nice plumpness, but you won't get like clown mouth, basically. So for lipstick, I'm going to use a Morphe one. This one is called Boo, and it's a really nice kind of like neutral matte shade. So to finish off my makeup look, I'm going to use Urban Decay All Nighter Fixing Spray. This is like another cult product everybody has in their kit. It's one you just rebuy over and over and over again. It literally makes your makeup stay all night long, obviously, as it does what it says in the tin. But yeah, this is one of my favorites. So this is my finished Christmas glam look using all products from Arnotts Beauty Haul. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoy getting glam and Christmassy and wearing lots of gloss and sparkle this year. That's a wrap.